Hi, thanks for tuning in. Another video from the Alternative Business channel. I wanted to make this video because pretty much every working day I speak to lots of business owners. They range from owners of little micro businesses to medium-sized independently owned businesses, and I also meet a lot of startup founders or people who've got a new idea, a business that they're starting. That's the nature of the work I do. I meet these people every working day of the week. What I keep finding is with people who are starting a business is they seem to think that because they've got an idea, they're automatically some kind of entrepreneur, or they get a business card made with a CEO on there. This CEO of jack shit, CEO of nothing, right? But there's this fallacy of a great idea that they think is the be all and end all. They're going to be millionaires, they're going to be the next Alan Sugar because they've got an idea. Let's be honest, everybody in life has had countless ideas of things we can improve, a business we could start. I'd love to do this, love to do that. Many of them are just passing thoughts, nothing ever comes to fruition. But everybody's had loads and loads and loads of ideas. Having an idea doesn't make you a business person, doesn't make you an entrepreneur, doesn't make you anything. Actually, it's just an idea. So this fallacy of a great idea. So the first point I want to get across that I think is vitally important. Anyone that makes it in business is you've got to actually take some action. An idea on its own, it could be the best idea in the world. You could have come up with the idea for the iPhone before it existed. You could have come up with the idea for the iPhone 15 or whatever we're up to now before the iPhone 1 ever came out. But that idea on its own is not worth a bean. It's the execution, it's actually doing something about it. And I speak to so many people who've got ideas, going to start a business. Of course it starts with an idea, but as soon as you get an idea, you then need to take some action. If you do nothing, then of course you can guarantee that absolutely nothing is going to happen. If you do something, then something has to happen. It might not always work, but at least you tried. Better to have tried and failed than never tried at all. But then you try again, and even if you fail again, try again. It might work next time. It's going to work eventually. If you keep trying, it's the execution, doing something. So when you wake up in the morning with a new idea, think, I've come up with this great new business plan, I'm going to do this. Well, you don't even need a business plan. You've got an idea. Go and actually do something about it, right? All you need is maybe some comfortable shoes, or wear a lot of shoe leather, and walk up and down, speak to people, whatever your business, your product or your service relates to. Go and speak to people that could be potential customers, get feedback off people, find customers, potential customers, and test the idea. To do that, you don't need an accountant, right? There are lots and lots of good accountants out there. A good accountant is worth their weight in gold. When your business is established and you're generating revenue, a good accountant can save you a fortune in taxes legally. But accountants, most of the time, even though some call themselves accountants, are not business advisors. A large proportion of accountants are employees of accountancy firms. If they were so good at giving advice on starting a business, then they would be in business for themselves. I'm not saying accountants are bad. I've met some good accountants. There's many fantastic accountants out there, but they're not necessarily business advisors. They know the numbers, they'll help you with it, and they're worth the weight in gold, as I said. But you don't need an accountant to start a business. You don't need a consultant. You don't need a website to start. I know customers are going to ask for your website, then actually, but you don't need one to go and see if the idea works. You don't need to order 10 grand worth of stock from Alibaba and fill your garage and all the spare rooms in your house with stock in the hope that it might sell when you actually do nothing about it. You don't need a logo. You don't need any of this nonsense. All you need is to go out and speak to people. First of all, and see if you've got a proof of concept. Is there a market for my product or service? And if there is it, are people going to buy it? What are they willing to pay for it? And actually just do something about it. Ideas on their own are worth nothing, right? So actually do something about it. One business I started about 10 years ago. It was in financial services, business to business. It was like fintech, early fintech business, payment processing. I am going to make a video actually on how to start a payment processing business. I've been asked about it many times, and like fintech is really a popular space, isn't it, for business, and payments are growing. So I'm actually going to make another video on that because it's not as difficult as you might think for anyone that's interested in knowing. But when I started my business, payment processing business, I got my first customers from the village that I lived in. It helped because I knew people. I shopped in the local village, I got to know them, got on with them. But I didn't have a website, didn't have a logo, didn't have an accountant. I opened a business bank account and I got things in place that I needed. I went and spoke to people, I got my first customers, and I carried on from there. When I was generating revenue, making money, I got a website built. I joined various business clubs where I could generate business. So I went out, I employed salespeople in the end. I had like 7 sales staff out on the road. And after 4 years, I had well over 2,000 customers, all of which made us some money. Some made us a bit of money, some made us a lot, but they all made money. I had over 2,000 customers after 4 years, about 2,300 roughly. And I didn't start with a logo, with a consultant, with an accountant, with any of that nonsense. I just started by going out speaking to people, testing the market, see if there was with the market for the product and the service, which there was, and it went from there, and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. So forget about all this, I've got an idea and I'm going to do this, going to that. Actually just go and do it, otherwise drop the idea and don't waste your time. Or waste the time of the people who tell you about your ideas. So if you're going to go and do something, you're actually going to make something happen, then what I would say is about think about, people always say, right, we all live busy lives. People's lives nowadays are busy, stressful. People work probably more hours than they used to. When I was young, everything was closed on a Sunday. I used to think Sunday was boring as a kid, but actually wish Sundays were like they used to be, because everything is open now. You know, we've got supermarkets open until 10, 11 p.m. on a Sunday. Everything's open, restaurants are packed, cars all the road, congestion everywhere. And because we all live busier lives, there's become this like mass excuse of I don't have the time, I can't do this, or I want to do this and I could do if only this, but I don't have the time, got to do this, and working. Always an excuse for it. If you think about it, right, most people use social media. I personally don't, because I absolutely loathe it, but most people scroll through crap on Facebook and TikTok and all the other nonsense that's out there. There's been various reports, right, but in the UK and some parts of Europe and the US, various reports have said that people spend between 3 and 4 hours per day. Maybe not consecutive. They wake up in the morning, they check Facebook, they see that some numpty posted a photo of their steak and chips they made for dinner last night. They're probably a crap cook anyway. They put a picture out there, and like 29 people who've never met put a thumb up, go, oh yeah, it looks lovely, I wish I had some of that, even though they don't wish they had it, because it's probably a crap steak and chips anyway. But that's what people do, scroll through Facebook. You notice it never ends. They scroll down, more stories pop up. 99% of it or more is probably nonsense, and is probably a waste of your time. Going off these studies that say 3, 4, 5 hours a day are wasted by the average person on Facebook, if we go off the minimum, if you waste 3 hours per day on Facebook and TikTok and all the other associated crap that's in there, staring at your phone, getting all that blue light that's bad for your eyes, everything else, in the average person's lifetime, that equates to 18 full weeks of your life. Can you imagine spending 18 weeks of your life staring at crap on Facebook and TikTok? That's not funny, that's not informative, that's come from brain dead people, that has no relevance, that's just a load of rubbish. 18 weeks. How much business could you drum up with from your latest idea in 18 full weeks? That's 18 full weeks without any sleep, just 18 weeks. So if you did that like it was 18 weeks of, well, if you just divide it as days and took away the nights, then it'd be 36 weeks of working days. 36 weeks of working days, 7 days a week. How much time could you generate? So saying you don't have time is nonsense. Everybody can create time, and ultimately if you're going to build a business that's going to be successful and it's got all your dreams are going to come true with it and everything, all these great ideas you've got, then why wouldn't you sacrifice something else for the time now? Because in a few years down the line you probably have all the time you want, because you can pay other people to do all the jobs and the mundane tasks that you don't want to do. So there's a fallacy of a great idea. It's worth nothing until you do something. A crap idea executed well will be a lot more successful than the best idea that has a poor execution or never happens or people just talk about. So its execution is everything. You probably know this. I'm not saying anything out of the ordinary. This is like common sense, but people don't realise, because they think I've got a great idea, I'm suddenly an entrepreneur, and you're not. It's nonsense. You don't need all this nonsense. Don't need a logo, don't need a website and all the rest of it. Don't need to buy a lot of stock from Alibaba or whatever you're doing. You need to go out there and find customers. Speak to people who may be customers, whether they're neighbours, friends, family, whatever it might be, people on the street, business owners, whatever. Then, if you, well, I've already said about the thing with social media and stuff, and by the way, I'm looking down here, my videos are never ever scripted, I don't plan anything. I've put a couple of notes on a bit of a piece of paper, because a number of notes I've taken from speaking to people in business. So I'm looking down and pause, it's because they're not scripted videos. I like to be genuine, authentic, and just say how I see it, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong about things. I like to say it how it is. So if I'm pausing, it's an unscripted video. I haven't done any rehearsal of it, it's just as it is. So apologies for the pauses, but I'm just looking at things that I want to get in that are vital points that I see day in and day out from business owners or wannabe business owners. Right, another thing on financing. Most businesses cost very little to start, very little. Of course, if you're going to go and become a Rolls-Royce dealer, or you're going to deal in luxury watches, you want to buy and sell Rolexes, you need a load of money to buy your initial stock. Well, actually you might not, because you could sell it as a kind of third-party agent and just connect buyers and sellers and get a commission. But some businesses do take a lot of money. Most don't, especially if you're not getting that crap I said, like an accountant and a logo and all the other stuff that you don't need in the beginning. So you don't need a load of money to start a business. And the reality is, even if your business fails or you don't make much money at all, and you've quit your job to do it, if you think about it, at least here in the UK, and I think it's true in a lot of Europe, a lot of the developed world, the Western world, probably in the US, I don't know, but in the UK at least, do you ever see anybody who actually starves to death because they've started a business, because they quit their job? If you got sacked or made redundant tomorrow, you'd have to find a way to make money, whether it's another job, whatever. It's no different than leaving it. If you leave your job, I'm not saying leave your job just to get another job, that'd be pointless, but if you're going to start a business, you've got to start it somewhere. There's things you can cut back on. Do you really need Netflix? Do you really need Sky TV? Do you really need the latest iPhone 37 or whatever nonsense they're out with that's allegedly worth about 1,200 quid when it's not? So many things you can cut back on. Do you really need to go and spend £5 on a coffee at Starbucks or Costa every day for a mediocre coffee that's not even like a high grade of coffee? So many things you can cut back on initially. You don't need a load of money to start a business. So I would advise, if you can help it, to not go and borrow money unless you absolutely need to. If you need to, try first and borrow from the so-called dolphins rather than the sharks. The dolphins, you might be family members who trust you. Maybe you're in line for a bit of inheritance, and maybe parents, grandparents who might lend you a little bit, advance you a little bit of that now to start your business. You might have to pay it back, you might not. It's between you and them. But don't go to a bank and take out a business loan at an APR of 21.9%, which is about normal. I saw somebody recently who had a relatively new business. Now, they had a couple of good corporate customers, and in order to finance their stock, they used something, I don't know if it's factoring or invoice finance. You might be familiar, they're both similar. One of them is where you control your sales ledger, one is where the bank or the lender controls your sales ledger. But essentially they work the same. If you've got a good creditworthy customer, you're going to order 20 grand worth of stock from you, whatever, 100 grand of stock, whatever it is, and you can't fulfill that order, a bank or a factoring or an invoice finance company will advance you maybe 80 or 90% of that money on the basis that your customer is creditworthy and they trust that will pay, and they then take the money when your customer pays for the order. But the fees are high, and it probably will wipe out all of your net profit on the thing. Now, it's okay, you've got a customer, maybe that leads to other customers you make money on, that's up to you to decide, but it'll probably wipe out the net profit. Net profits are never high in any business, really, very low, often single digit percentage figures their net profits are. Gross profits will be high, and net profits are usually very, very low in percentage terms. If you're using factoring or invoice finance, or you've got commercial debt, it will probably wipe out the bulk of your net profit, at least in the early days. So try and not borrow money. First of all, so if you've got an idea, go and do something about it. If you've got 10 ideas, do something about 10 of them. You'll quickly find the ones that don't work. You probably don't need to borrow money, even if you think you do, probably don't need to. You don't need all the other things said to spend money on up front. You certainly don't need to use social media. Some people might use that for business. I know it works for business, but sit there scrolling through nonsense of terrible grammar, people who can't even spell properly, and putting nonsense out there, and thumbs up and smiley face and all these what they call emojis. What's all that crap about? Who needs all that? It's just wasting time. So quit all that. Don't waste 18 weeks of your entire life on scrolling through social media. And one other thing I was going to say about not wasting time, and then I'll get to the end of this video. And these are again just points that I see in business people day in, day out, or wannabe business people who've got an idea. It comes down to again about time. We were saying how like most people nowadays live busy lives you do. So not only can you save about 18 weeks of your life in an average person's lifetime by not scrolling through Facebook and TikTok and all the other crap every day of your life, is if you think about it, if someone said to you now, right, you need to go and start your business, go and start it this weekend, or start Monday morning, start your business, or even better, start it today, you'd probably say, I've got loads to do, I've got this, got that, I've got a long list of things I have to do. Most people have a big list. Most people have busy lives, whether it's work, family, where they have to do things. Look at it another way. If you think about what would be your dream holiday, where is a place in the world that you would absolutely love to go, and who would you want to go there with? Maybe friends, family, group of people, whatever. Think about who you'd love to go with and where would be your dream holiday. Doesn't matter how much it costs, right? Now imagine that person or those people who you would want to go to on your dream holiday with phoned you up right now and said, guess what? I was going on holiday to this location, wherever it is, your dream place, and so, or these people were coming with me. They've had to cancel at last minute. I've got available transferable tickets. It's all inclusive. It doesn't need to cost you a penny, but the flight leaves tomorrow evening. Can you make it to whatever, Heathrow Airport, wherever it may be? It's a free holiday. It's your dream holiday, the people you really want to go to. I reckon that more than 98% of the people would find a way to make it. They'd be really busy between now and that flight tomorrow, whenever it is, and they get loads done. And the stuff that they don't do probably didn't really need doing anyway. You'd make it, wouldn't you, do it? But oh, if you had to start your business tomorrow, oh no, I've got this, I'll put it off. I'll start on Monday. A bit like people on a diet always going to start. Have you noticed how fat people always remain fat? Most of them, not all, but most of them remain fat for their entire life because the diet's always going to start Monday. So it's Saturday, I'll order a takeaway because I'm going to start my diet on Monday. Oh, it's Sunday, I'll have a big fry up because I'm going to start the diet on Monday. Then come Monday, oh, I've had a really busy day at work, so I'm going to treat myself to a takeaway. That's why they remain fat for most of their life, because they don't do anything about it. People want to start a business and always got something in the way. I haven't got the money, I haven't got the time, whatever it is. That's why they don't start the business, because they've always put it off with something else. So just think about that. When you've got your great idea and you can actually do something about it, just imagine your dream holiday with the people you would choose to go on that with offered you an all-inclusive paid-for holiday, but you had to leave tomorrow evening. You would probably find the time to do it. So apply the same thinking to starting your business. That's about it, what I wanted to say. And I've only covered this because the common topics I come across, not necessarily day in and day out, but every single week, multiple times with people I'm speaking to in business or starting a business, they've got the idea. I say, why don't you do it? Oh, well, I might. There's always a but. I didn't do it because of this. I might do it, but. If their life depended on it, they'd do it. If their children depended on it, they'd do it. If they had that dream holiday, they would find the time and do it. So all I'm saying is, stop the excuses, because they're all excuses. Time is an excuse. I haven't got the money is an excuse. I haven't got the ability is an excuse. I can't afford to leave my job is an excuse. You'll find ways to do it. And I'm saying this because it's the truth. It's the cold hard truth. You can do it if you really want to. If you don't want to do it, having ideas is all well and good. That's fine. Have some dreams and then forget about it. You'll have a fresh idea tomorrow. That's fine. If you want to be a wage slave all your life and be taxed to death and work until you die, and you might finally pay off your mortgage when you're 75, and then you can afford to go on a cruise, or you can go to Spain for 2 weeks and then enjoy life, so to speak, then do that. Nothing wrong with that if you want to do that. But if you really want to start a business and you're serious about it, then get your finger out and get on with it and stop the excuses. Thank you for watching. I know it sounds like quite harsh what I say, but it's truthful. There's so many people that just don't do anything about it. Just go and do something. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. If you do something, something's got to happen. That something might be the best thing that ever happens to you in your life. If that something fails, then do something else, and eventually something will work. Second time, third time, 10th time, 15th time, something will happen. And guess what? Something will happen within the time that you've probably just wasted staring at other people taking a photo of their crap steak and chips on Facebook that doesn't even matter. Thank you for watching. If you like the video or if you find it useful, please do share it, comment. Very welcome any comments, good, bad, indifferent. And very welcome if you subscribe if you're not already. Thanks very much, and see you in the next video.